Okay, you can start.
Welcome, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Tipsy Guide to Success. Today, we're diving into chapter 13, where we'll explore the art of creating vision and strategic direction. But before we begin, let me introduce our intoxicated dream team. Mr. Atherton, the spirited specialist. Mr. Archie, the ambitious visionary. Mr. Alfonso, the adventurous innovator. And Mr. Duncan, the daring decision maker. Next slide. The objective in this specific topic within chapter 13 should be for us to understand the core concept of strategic leadership, understanding the domain of strategic leadership as it pertains to vision, mission, strategy, and implementation. Next slide. Strategic leadership. The ability to anticipate and envision the future, maintain flexibility, think strategically, and initiate changes that will create a competitive advantage for the organization in the future. Strategic leadership means being really good at planning for the future. It's like having special powers to predict what might happen and come up with smart ideas to make our team or organization better than before or better than others. It's also about being able to adapt and change when needed. By thinking ahead and making clever decisions, we could stay ahead of the competition and be successful in the long run. Leaders are like captains of a ship. They need to know what's happening around them, think about what might happen in the future, and decide where the ship should go. But sometimes the world can be very confusing and the future is uncertain. This can make leaders feel overwhelmed. So instead of thinking about the big picture, they might focus on things happening inside the ship. Strategic leadership is all about connecting what's happening outside the ship to the choices we make about where we want to go and how we'll get there. It's like using a map and a compass to guide the ship in the right direction. Strategic leaders help everyone on the ship understand the plan and believe in it. Next slide. Domain. Back up the slide, please. Right. Domain of strategic leadership, which will include the vision, the mission, the strategy, and the implementation. The vision is like a picture that shows us what we want our company to be like. It's like a big goal that we all work together to achieve. Strategy is like a plan that helps us figure out how to make the vision come true. It's like a map that shows us which way to go. And when we talk about implementation, it means actually doing the things we plan in our strategy. It's like building the things we need and putting systems in place to make everything work smoothly. A mission is like a special message that tells everyone why a company or organization exists, what it wants to do, and who it wants to help. It's like a compass that helps the company make decisions and know where it's going. It's important for people who work there, the customers, the people who invest in the company, and even the community around it. It's a way to remind everyone of the company's purpose, and how it wants to make a positive impact. I now hand you over to Mr. Archie, the ambitious visionary. Mr. Archie, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Duncan. We are going to delve now into leadership vision. And for this section of the chapter 13, the objectives will be to develop a compelling and inspiring understanding of an organization's vision as it relates to the leadership. We'll be looking at why is the vision important in an organization? What does the vision aim to do? How should one create vision and make a positive impact with it? And we will also explore whether it is true that leadership vision helps align and motivate stakeholders towards a common purpose. Leadership vision. I would reiterate what my colleague said before, that a vision is an ambitious view of the future that everyone involved can believe in. One that can realistically be achieved, but not readily attainable. One that offers a future that is better in important ways than what exists presently. Strong, inspiring vision have been associated with higher organizational performances. Unit vision, leadership vision, and transformational leadership. This topic of transformational leadership that was discussed prior to today by a group before, so I'll just briefly mention what it is. So transformational leadership is someone who has the ability to lead an organization, to lead when there are changes in the organization's vision, the strategy, the culture, as well as to promote innovation in products and in technology. The vision is an important aspect of transformational leadership, and transformational leaders typically articulate visions that present a high optimistic view of the future and expresses high confidence that a better future can be realized. What does a vision do for an organization? So a vision works in a number of important ways. An effective vision provides a link between today and tomorrow, in that it serves to energize and motivate employees towards the future. It provides meaning for people's work and sets a standard of excellence and integrity in the organization. Vision energizes people and amass commitment. People want to feel enthusiastic about the work that they're doing. And many people commit their time and their energy voluntarily towards these causes. If, for instance, you look at members of political parties or these community development parties, as well as the environmental bodies, you see these are examples where people are committed to a particular vision. As we go, vision gives meaning to work. People also need to find dignity and meaning in their work. Even people performing routine tasks can find pride in their work when they have a large purpose for what they are doing. People are drawn to communities that offer them a chance to do something meaningful. And vision also establishes a standard of excellence and integrity. We're saying that a powerful vision frees people from the mundane and provide them with a challenge that requires them to give their best. In addition, vision provides a measure by which employees can gauge their contributions to the organization. It clarifies and connects to the core values and ideals of the organization, and thus sets a standard of integrity for the employees. We're going to look at some common themes of vision. Now, we have five common themes of powerful and effective vision. The first one we're going to deal with is that vision must have a broad and widely shared appeal. So although it may be obvious that a vision can be achieved through the people, many visions fail because the idea of the vision was not identified with the organization as a whole. So you find now just the leaders and them aware what the vision is, and the subordinates, the workers, the other middle managers, not clear on that. So even though it was a good vision, it failed. We have visions deals with change. A visions that work help the organization achieve bold changes. Visions that are about action and about challenging people to make important changes towards a better future. Next, vision encourages faith and hope. Vision exercises only in the imagination. I think our previous presenters highlighted that as well. It is a picture of a world that cannot be observed or verified in advance. The future is shaped by people who believe in the vision, and a powerful vision helps people believe that they can be effective, that there is a better future, and they can move through their own commitment and actions. And finally, we say that, second to last, vision reflects high ideals. A good vision is something that is idealistic, and the vision that portrays an uplifting future that has the power to inspire and energize people is what you're really looking for when you mention that about the theme of a vision. And then finally, vision defines the destination and the journey. A good vision for the future includes specific outcomes that the organization wants to achieve. It also incorporates the underlying values that will help the organization get there. So what they want to achieve and the path that they must take to get there. I'm just going to read some notes here on vision. So vision works not only in the organization as a single unit, but can apply to various sections, levels, departments, and individuals. Within an organization, top leaders develop a vision for the organization as a whole. And at the same time, a project team leader can develop a vision with team members for a new product that they are working on. Leaders of functional departments, divisions, and teams can use these visions with the same positive results as the top leaders. And when every person understands and embraces a vision, the organization becomes self-adapting. Although each individual acts independently, everyone is working in the same direction. But this is a principle that is termed as self-reference. But we're not going to get into that today. The next section we're going to deal with here on topic 13 will be mission. And the objective we are trying to attain here is to define the fundamental purpose of core activities of the mission in an organization, what the mission statement communicates in the organization and its existence, its primary objectives, and the target audience it serves. Also, how it affects the organization's identity and helps guide decision-making and resource allocations. So our mission. The mission is the organization's core broad purpose and the reason for existence. The mission defines the organization, the company's core values and reasons for being. It also provides a basis for creating the vision. Whereas before we saw that the vision is an ambitious desire for the future. The mission is what the organization stands for. The mission comprises of two critical parts. We have the core value and the core purpose, which we went through in some length in the prior presentation. What does the mission do? Or does? The mission endures in the face of change. In the face of changing technology, economic conditions, or even other environmental conditions, the mission must be so robust that it must endure throughout these things. The mission serves as a guide that holds the organization together. In times of change, it guides strategic choices and decisions about the future. The mission holds the organization together. The mission defines the organization's character. It can be used as the leadership tool to help employees find meaning to their work. Example of that is that you have people connecting their jobs to a higher purpose. The work itself becomes a greater motivation for them. And as we speak about higher purpose, we move on to mission and the framework of noble purpose. So we see here that the mission also includes the company's core purpose. The core value and core purpose are frequently expressed in the mission statement. An effective mission statement captures people's idealistic motivations for why the organization exists. Most successful companies have missions that proclaim a noble purpose of some sort. And we have the example here of Jusamco Pavers, and their mission statement is ensuring that our service is of the highest quality and safest standards. We're going on to the framework of noble purpose. And we have listed below here 4 basic approaches leaders take in framing an organization on organizational purpose that helps people find that their work is worthwhile. So the first one we have is altruism. And this goes along the line that many nonprofit organizations are based on the noble purpose of altruism. But businesses can also use this approach as well. The basis of the action for this type of purpose is to increase personal happiness. Next approach leaders could use, we have heroism. And this basically means that the company's purpose is based on being strong, aggressive, and effective. Discovery is the next one. And we're saying that people are inspired by the opportunity to find or create something new. And finally, we have excellence. For this approach, leaders focus people on being the best, both on an individual and on an organizational level. This concludes my section of this chapter. I will now hand you over to Mr. Atherton. I believe, yes, Mr. Atherton, to continue with strategy in action. Mr. Atherton?
Thank you, Mr. Archie. All right, so before I start, I will just like everybody to just take a look at the what is illustrated on the screen. And I'll present myself knowing that my introduction by the presenter for by the presenter stated I'll just divulge. I am the spirited strategist, also known as spirited person of nuance and interest to the art of strategic planning, specializing in effective strategies can steer an organization more or less in a nutshell and encompasses any strat plan. Next slide.
Atherton. Hi, excuse
Yes,
me,
sir.
Atherton. Yeah, you're kind of breaking up. I don't know if you're moving back and forth from your microphone or if it's a Wi-Fi issue.
Okay, I will try to be as steady as possible.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Strategies and action. So what we're going to look at is the role of the strategy in organization as it translates into the vision, the values, and the purpose in action. The strategic management is defined as a set of decisions and action used to formulate and implement specific strategies to achieve a competitive superior fit between the organization and its environment to achieve organizational goals. So what we're saying here is that that strategic management that is there is also an ongoing dynamic process that involves continuous evaluation, adjustment, and adaptation, and be able to adapt and align to all long-term objectives in this changing environment where a strategy has to be implied. Next slide. Next slide. So in order for this strategy to be implemented, the strategy must be defined as a general plan of action that describes the resources, the allocations, and other activities for dealing with the environment and helping the organization attain its goal. So in developing an effective strategy, it requires listening to people both inside and outside the organization, as well as examining trends and continuities in the environment that can be used to gain an edge. Chadi, you had to mute your mic. Next slide. Next. So in order for this to happen, we must have good leaders. Good leaders anticipate, they look ahead and prepare for the future based on the trends they see in the environment today, which often requires radical and innovative thinking. In previous lessons, we saw leadership, so I wouldn't go directly involved with in terms of leadership. But what I'll say is that in order for a strategy to be put in place, we must have good leaders who will be able to execute the plan, who understands vision and know where it goes in order to execute this plan. So this leader, he will be able to try to identify the organization's strengths. Also, what makes the organization different from others in the industry. So there's something that they do what you call like SWOT analysis, where you go outside and you understand what other companies have, what you can do to improve your business and your output. So good leaders do those kind of groundwork in order to make a company or business successful when they have their strategy in place. Next slide, please. So in order for this to happen, synergies must be formed. So synergy occurs when the organization takes part, interact to produce an effective and that is greater than the sum of the parts of acting alone, resulting in the organization may attain a special advantage with respect to cost, market, power, technology, or employee skills. Companies gain synergy through alliances and partnership. Focusing on core competence, synergies help companies create value for their customer. The value is together with a combination of efforts and receive the cost paid by the customers. Next slide. So we'll divulge into the strategy formulation. So strategy formulation is integrating knowledge of the environment, the vision and the mission with the company's core competency in such a way as to achieve the synergy and create value. When these are brought together, the company has an excellent chance to succeed in competitive environment. So this strategy formulation is what we'll say is a dynamic, interactive process that allows your organization to develop that roadmap for achieving their long-term goal. It involves combination of analyzing and planning to ensure that the chosen strategies are well aligned with the organization mission, strengths, and the changing business landscape of the environment. Next slide. Strategies is implemented through specific mechanisms, techniques, or tools for directing organizational resources to accomplish strategic goals. Strategies implementation is the most important as well as the most difficult strategy. When we're dealing with these strategies, implementation, sorry. When we deal with strategy implementation, these are some things that we must take into consideration. You must have an action plan. The action plan for that implementation, it starts on the overall strategy into specific actions. These plans detail what needs to be done, who's responsible for what, and how it should be completed, and with the required resources. So with the required resources, you have to allocate those resources. Adequate resources include financial, human, technical, and must be allocated to support this implementation of the strategy. This ensures that the organization has the necessary means to carry out this action plan. So you have organizational structure. The organizational structure and process may be needed to adjust in the line with the strategy. So this might involve creating new departments or new teams, even changing the regular reporting process or reporting relationship to establish new, what you call workflows in order to meet those strategies. These things may have to change. So these structural changes may be implemented based on how you want to move forward. Communication. Clear and consistent communication is essential for strategy implementation. All employees and stakeholders must be aware of the strategies, their roles, and what their expected outcomes. Effective communication fosters alignment and commitment. And everything ties into it, because in understanding or moving forward to that, you must have leadership, proper leadership and change management. Leadership plays a critical role in driving strategies implementation. The leaders must motivate, guide their team and address resistance to change and create a supportive environment for new strategies. With everything you do and anything you put in place, you must have that key element of monitoring and controlling what you put forward or what ends you and resources you put. So monitoring and control is very important. Regular monitoring and control of mechanisms that are put in place to track the process and the progress of the assets that you placed for you to implement your strategy are key indicators, what you call it KPIs, and are also used to measure the performance and determine the strategy is it on track. Whenever doing things, feedback is important. So the organization allows that feedback to be prepared and is necessary for the adjustment in the implementation. Because if you're going road and for some strange reason, you're not delivering any results because something you're doing or something that you put in place has not measured up to what you wanted. So this feedback is so critical. It is critical in terms of, so you may have to change your action plan, revisit that. You may have to relocate resources, change the course in which you would have gone. So feedback and that data from the feedback is critical in order for you to understand if that strategy you have put in place is working. And then you have your performance evaluation, regular assessment, and effective strategic implementation is important. It's an impact on the organization objective. It makes necessary to the improvement to ensure that the strategies are success. So in strategies implementing is a critical phase in that strategic management process. It helps the success and it depends on the effective planning, clear communication. The leaders must be strong in understanding where you need to go, the resources allocated, and the ability to change based on the circumstances. And this is the bridge that between the formulating part and the implementation. That is the bridge in which everything comes together and has that desired outcome and requires that coordinated and well-executed effort through the organizational roadmap of that strategic plan. Next slide. And ladies and gentlemen, brings me the end of my presentation, the spirited strategist, and I'll pass over to Mr. Stephen Alfonso, who will take you through the other slides until the end. Thank you.
Just a little mix in communication. I will be taking it from here. We had leaders' contribution. The objective for this shall be understanding the expectations of leaders and their leadership roles, understanding the importance of being optimistic as leaders, understanding leader-manager guidelines as it pertains to types of leaders, vision, and action. Next slide, please. Sorry, previous slide. Although good leadership calls for actively involving everyone, leaders are still ultimately responsible for establishing direction through vision and strategy. When leadership fails to provide direction, organizations flounder. This means that leaders have an important job of guiding a group of people towards a common goal. They need to have a clear idea of where they want to go and come up with a plan to get there. When leaders don't do this properly, the group can become confused and not know what to do. Imagine you're playing a game with your friends, but nobody tells you the rules or the goals of the game. It would be really hard to play, not so? That's what happens in organizations where leaders don't give clear directions. People might not know what they're supposed to do or how their work fits into the bigger picture. When leaders provide good direction, it helps everyone understand what they need to do and how their work contributes to the team's success. It keeps the group focused and motivated. But if leaders don't give clear direction, the group can get stuck and not make progress. So it's important for leaders to communicate their plans and make sure everyone knows where they are headed. Next slide. There's a beautiful phrase which says, where there is no hope in the future, there is no power in the present. When we believe that good things can happen in the future, it gives us the power to make a positive impact right now. Having hope means we are optimistic about what lies ahead. It motivates us to take action and make choices that can lead to a better outcome. But when we don't have hope for the future, when we feel unsure or pessimistic, it can make us feel powerless and less motivated. Without hope, we may not feel like our efforts matter or that things can get better. So it's important to stay hopeful and positive because it helps us feel strong and capable in the present moment. When we believe in a brighter future, we can find the energy, the determination to take action and make a difference in our lives. Next slide. Next slide. Life without vision is derogatory. Vision without action is but an empty dream. Action guided by vision is joy and the hope for the earth. Having a clear picture of what you want in life is really important. If you don't have any goals or dreams, life can feel boring and unexcited. But just imagine things without actually doing anything about them won't make them happy. You have to take action and work towards your dream, especially in an organization. When you do that, it feels amazing and brings you total happiness. It also gives you the hope and inspire others within the organization. Next slide. And here we have our chart, our leader manager guidelines for the action. And on this chart here, we see where the vision and the action for effective leaders are high. They are both high, essentially and ideally. This is a place where everyone who has the aspiration of being leaders would want to end up in such a bracket. The Leader Manager Guide for Action is a book written by William D. Hitt. It's also about how to be a good leader and manager at the same time. The leader manager is someone who knows how to lead a team and get things done. They have the skills to inspire and guide others like a leader, and also know how to organize tasks and make sure everything runs smoothly like a manager. Ideally, one should aspire to become an effective leader based on the chart and its characteristics where action and vision are both related as high. This means that effective leaders are proactive and drive change. They also have clear vision of the future and are considered to be strategic thinkers. And I'll hand you over to Mr. Alfonso. Mr. Alfonso, I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Duncan. Good day, sir. Good day, all. I'll be touching on the leader's impact. I'd just like everybody to take a few seconds to look at this picture and vision the impact that this leader had on his team. Next slide. Proverbs 29:18, where there is no vision, the people perish, but he that keepeth the law, happy is he. So it's very important that if you don't want the people to perish, you need to have vision. I just told you all that to look at the picture that I just placed. So a leader's vision linked with strategy results in a positive future for organizations. When leaders link vision and strategy, they can make a real difference for their organization's future. A leader's greatest discretion is often strategic vision and strategic action. Now, if we just go back to the picture in our minds, this is an example of it. Darren Sammy, leader of the West Indies cricket team, had the ability to think about the future and see the end results and work backwards to find the solutions to achieve.
Hi, Stephen.
We're
now hearing you. We lost you there.
Right, so my internet cut off this.
All right, okay.
So we move on.
Nah, pick back up. We missed about half of what you did.
All right, so I'll start back from my leader's vision.
Right, yeah, I think that's a good place.
Right, so a leader's vision linked with strategy results in a positive future for organizations. When leaders link vision and strategy, they can make a real difference for the organization's future. A leader's greatest discretion is often strategic vision and strategic action. Say Emma?
Yes, we
Hello.
are. Yes, we're hearing you.
Right. So if we reflect back on the picture, when Darren Sammy, the West Indies captain or leader, he had the ability to think about the future and see the end results and work backwards to find the solutions to achieve success for his team. So he put together the vision and the strategy. That was just an example. Moving on. Research has shown that strategic thinking and planning for the future can positively affect a company's performance and financial success. Therefore, a good leader is more impactful than other positive contributing factors. So I'm using an example, reference to the same picture as cricket. In cricket, it is a sport that is heavily influenced by conditions, circumstances, and other factors. Some of these factors that favor teams are the pitch condition, the weather condition, and home advantage, and also the toss. But at the end of the day, the decision that the leader makes will go way beyond these factors and achieve success. Team. Together, everyone achieves more. More recent research has explored the notion of top leadership teams as opposed to an individual executive. The makeup of top leadership group is believed to affect whether an organization develops organizational capability and the ability to exploit strategic opportunities. A team provides diverse aptitudes and skills to deal with complex organizational situations. So what this really means to say is that in the world today, long ago, a team had one coach, and he used to focus on everything. Now, recently a team has a coach, which is a team has a head coach, a batting coach, a bowling coach, a fielding coach, a fitness coach, and a mental conditioning coach, saying that when all these people come together as a team, the goal is achieved. Greater success is correlated with more leaders. The emergent focus on teams is more realistic in some ways than focusing on individual leadership. In a complex environment, a single leader cannot do all things. An effective team may have a better chance of identifying and implementing a successful strategy, of discerning an accurate interpretation of the environment, and of developing internal capabilities based on empowering employees and a shared vision. Without a capable and effectively interacting top leadership team, a company may not adapt readily in a shifting environment. Although research in the area of leader impact is still relatively limited, it does seem to affirm that belief that the choices leaders make have significant impact on an organization's performance. Next slide. Next slide. Right. Summary. In conclusion, leaders establish organizational direction through vision and strategy. A shared vision is an attractive, ideal future that energizes employees and establishes a standard of excellence. The mission reflects the organization's core values and purpose, which can be chosen from 4 basic concepts: discovery, excellence, altruism, and heroism. Successful leaders translate vision and mission into action, focusing on core competence, synergy, and creating value for customers. They make a real difference for the organization by linking vision to strategic action, making it more than just a dream. Superior organizational performance is determined by the decisions leaders make. And in closing, good leaders don't just daydream about their vision. They actually take action to make it happen. They focus on what the ship is really good at and find ways to work together as a team. They also make sure that what they do brings value to the people they serve, like the passengers on a ship. The choices the leaders make are really important because they can determine whether the ship succeeds or not. Thank you very much. Next slide. This comes to the end of our presentation. Are there any questions?
Okay, if there are no questions, I'll pause the recording.